Um, so you had originally it was just Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III, I guess, suppose back then. And then you added Final Fantasy IV. You said in 2003,
No, 2001, I think.
2001.
Again, it's all pretty foggy at this
Okay.
point. I've gotten quite old. But
Okay.
yeah,
I'm pretty
2001.
sure that's right.
Again, yeah, again, according to the magic of con history, cavesofnarsh.com/info/history.php.
Nice. So
That's me.
first it was
Doing a call
six,
out.
then it was four, and then what was added after that?
Oh my. Well, after that is when we really started cranking on the version of the site that you'll see now, which makes it quite long in the tooth, but it's held up pretty well, I think, given all of the additional content and additional features that we've built into it over the last years.
Hmm.
Um, the current version of the site launched at the end of July 2002. 31 July, which is coming up quite quickly now, is a very significant date for us, as it's when
Well,
the very original site went up in 1997.
wow.
Um, so yeah, we rolled out that new site first, which was us converting everything from a static front end to a more dynamic PHP-driven project, so we can update things, fix errors, that sort of thing much more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's more technical than I'm sure any of your listeners care about, and we just like to talk about it because Tittles and I are techie guys at heart.
Well,
But
you have to realize that a large portion of my fan base here happen to be nerds, right?
Not to
well,
mention
I,
most
I
of the
should
people in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly should have assumed, but it's rude. So we- we'll speak to the people who really couldn't give a damn about the tech side of it. And if you do if you care about the tech side, you can always reach out to us. You can always reach out to Miss Kame as well because she's been around for quite a while and probably knows or has absorbed plenty over the years. But to answer your specific question, the next game we added was actually Final Fantasy V because we had
Ah,
that
that's
hole in
right.
between the two games and we slotted it right in there. We didn't add it. We've had a policy of not covering games that have never been released in the West. Obviously, there is a large market for games that haven't been released over here, and by now there aren't many Final Fantasy games that haven't. In fact, none. But we've always catered more towards the North American and European markets because it's something that we know we can do well. It's something that we have access to directly, and we don't have to
Right.
rely on people that we don't know to translate things for us,
Yeah,
which
fan
is
translations.
yeah, and they can be hit or miss. They can be awesome, but at the end of the
Yeah,
day, we try to stick to the
yeah,
official stuff.
right, right. Well, actually, one of the people that me and the other group that I brought along with me know is Tomato. He's actually a fairly interesting guy to know. He does a lot of fan translations. Didn't he do Behemoth Lagoon, guys?
He pretty much was DJAP for a while, so yes, quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. But and of course on our side too is the whole Mother 3
Yeah,
thing.
of course, of course.
Yeah, with
I,
Mother, you cannot have what's coming from this side because there's nothing that comes from
Uh,
this side.
uh,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh well.
it's a well-known bitterness that exists in the community as a whole.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even I know that, and I'm stupid.
Oh. Aw.
It's true.
What? Mr. Tittles.
He's known me forever. He has the authority to speak.
he said voice of
It's true.
logic, not voice of kindness.
Okay, that's
He's the man of logic too.
fine. Okay, so I asked you earlier, Mr. 51, about your motivation for originally making the site. So we kind of know with you it was sort of out of boredom, but what about you, Mr. Tittles? Why exactly did you just feel compelled to do it? I mean, Mr. 51 went into a little bit, but can you further elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, there was sort of two interests coming together, if you like. I mean, I just played, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI, and started to think this was a really interesting series. At the same time, I was interested in getting involved with, message boards around there, and also I'd started getting interested in programming. So actually bringing all of those together, adding software into these bulletin boards, making them fancier, making them like something we want to use, and then first of all doing that as a just out of interest, and then finding somewhere to actually apply that and have it used more widely, and really get involved at that level was just of interest to me. So I guess Josh and I just kind of found the right fit there to get all that working.
Well, that's definitely a good cause right there.
And I'd love to interject that while I say that I started the site out of boredom, it certainly hasn't been that for quite a while now, and over so long a time, obviously things change. After a while, boredom was not an issue, of course, as it isn't for any of us. And then it became sort of a resume builder. In fact, I had determined while I was at university that this was a calling that I wanted to pursue professionally, and this was an outlet for that. It was a site that I could continue to work on, continue to build my skills, and over time it did in fact become something that got me my first job in the web industry.
Oh, nice.
No two ways about it. And even since then, it has become, as my time has become more and more limited, it's simply a labor of love. I've been doing it for so long, and I enjoy the community, and I enjoy the building of the site even more than I do the games themselves by a wide margin. And I'm happy to continue doing it simply because it's there and I can do it. And it's something that I feel that we've all proven ourselves to be good at over time. There's just no reason to not continue to be motivated.
Yeah.
Aside from, the day-to-day total lack of desire to work on the site, as Tittles and I both know all too well.
Alrighty.
Oh my, yeah.
Well, you know what? Speaking of today, why don't we go on to that, talking about the direction of today. Is there anything that you want to take the site in as far as a new direction or adding new games?
Oh, Lord, I could go on for hours, actually. We're kind of holding off on the new games aspect. As you, Kame, no doubt know, as you've contributed art to us recently. We did roll out Chrono Trigger coverage, which is the first game that we've covered that is not directly from the Final Fantasy series. Not only is that coverage ridiculously robust, I'm fairly certain that we're the only major site that is doing Nintendo DS coverage of Chrono Trigger even right now.
Oh, really?
Hopefully, well, by God, I hope so, because otherwise you've just made a liar of me. Hopefully your fact-checking people will get around to that sometime between now and when this airs, and because I'm not going to.
Fact-checking people?
Yeah, we have fact-checking people.
Well, yeah, I know that we don't, because if you've visited our errors and troubleshooting forum at the site, yeah, there's some errors every once in a while. Not to digress, though, I apologize. With Chrono Trigger out, and that was a big undertaking, and it's one that we did really quickly in terms of our usual development cycles, which tend to be pretty lengthy. We've kind of focused more on doing more things that we can do to bring the community back into it. The Final Fantasy community as a whole, you've seen many fan sites like ours go by the wayside, especially recently. And we're not looking to see that happen to Con because we just care about it too much to watch it wither away. So we're working right now on a lot of things to help build community interaction. Last summer, we released a whole new fan art section. Again, Kame, you know that all too well. It's a very, again, robust section that we use to allow users to submit their own fan art directly into the site. It works pretty similarly to what you might find on a site like DeviantArt, which obviously is many times our size. But our technical capability makes it possible to bring... Well, yeah, certainly less emo. Well, we actually filter our submissions, so the way I see it, that helps immensely.